This is The Raid, exposing the dark world of America's deportation machine. I'm your host, John Carlos Frey. Jess Craven is an activist, community organizer, and author of the Daily Actions email and Substack newsletter called Chop Wood and Carry Water. It provides subscribers with simple bite-sized actions they can take to help change issues concerning the current administration. Jess is a grassroots volunteer and an elected member of the Los Angeles County Democratic Party, as well as a delegate. She has worked on hundreds of progressive campaigns. Her tireless efforts to effect change have made her a popular voice on social media, where she explains civics and activism to her hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok and Instagram. The main reason for having her on the podcast today is, as a Los Angeles resident, she has been a staunch and outspoken critic of the Trump administration's immigration raids. So welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, John.
It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
Your career, if I want to call it that, is kind of by happenstance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so can you just kind of tell me?
Yeah, it's an accidental career. I have become a content creator and a newsletter author. I have a Substack that I write, giving people ways to sort of take action in the face of the encroaching authoritarianism that we're seeing and all the other things. The content creation part of it was unintentional. It really was a complete and total accident. I did open up an app and put a video up on it, but that was during COVID. I was trying to recruit people to phone bank, and someone told me that TikTok might be a good place to do that. So without realizing it, I kind of got in on the ground floor of the TikTok political content creator thing. And at that time, it took off in a way I would never have expected, especially as a woman of my age who refuses to wear makeup most of the time, lipstick accepted. It just was very unexpected. But I found that there were a lot of people who wanted political things explained to them in a basic way, and that's something I can do. Now that is a place where I can go and, among other things, amplify what is happening with ICE. But at the time, it was just a place to kind of talk to people about elections and get them a little bit more civically engaged. But it's become a much bigger platform. And so now I feel a responsibility, particularly as a white citizen, to use it for some good in this particular situation.
What's the responsibility?
The responsibility is to not check out and to not act like, well, this is happening to somebody else, so it's not my problem, which we all have the impulse to sort of check out. But actually in this moment, I don't need to tell you this, but we have an entire community or sets of communities that cannot defend themselves in any way because the state is torturing them and oppressing them. But there is a real power and magic to white people going and standing out in the street and protesting this and standing around ICE agents as they're doing what they're doing and amplifying what's happening. And that's something that really only we can do, because the Latino community, not to lump them all together, but and I'm not going to speak for them, but it seems to me that they are largely terrorized at this point, and it is terrorizing what is happening.
So when you say white person, you're not necessarily, I'm going to put words in your mouth. Tell me if I'm wrong. It's not necessarily that it's the color of your skin that makes you move forward. It's the fact that you're in a place of privilege where you're not being negatively affected yourself.
Thank you.
You're not being oppressed.
Yet. We are not being negatively affected in this way yet. Correct. I am also, anyone who has studied history at all understands that it encroaches, right? It encroaches and it will encroach. So first of all, I understand that. I also have a trans kid. So next in line and already being, attacked in many ways is the trans community. But from a place of privilege. You said it much better than I could. I never really know how to say these things, but I know what I feel in my heart, which is that we're up. People like me are up. We have to be.
Where does that come from, though? I mean, like you said, there's a whole population of people who just want to put their head in the sand. It's not happening to me. Oh, those poor people. I'll just go on and, go shopping today and not really worry about it. Why are you the tip of the spear? Why are you going for it?
Well, it's not, I'm not, look, there are so many people
You don't have to do this, though.
Right, no, you don't. Yeah, you don't, but you do, right? I don't know. It feels like a moral imperative. That seems really straightforward and obvious, but for me, it is a moral imperative. I a year ago, 2 years ago, was it? I went to Amsterdam and got the chance to visit the Anne Frank Museum, which I'd never been to before. And it was while Biden was still president. And I'd never been. I'm walking through it and I'm just crying like a baby, like unrestrained sobbing. And when I came out, I thought, wow, we really narrowly avoided that. Thank God. Like, we really could have gone there. Then, of course, fast forward to now, and you hear these stories. It was when they first came to Los Angeles, and I was making a video and talking about how families were now hiding inside with their children, that children were not going to school. This is still the case. There's 7,000 children disappeared from LAUSD that they don't know where they've gone. Some of them are still hiding at home. That's Anne Frank. So what's the difference? What would I have done in Germany? I hope I would have been one of the people bringing them groceries and hiding them in my building. What am I doing now? It better be some version of that. Otherwise, I'm part of it. I'm complicit.
You really equate what's going on today with the administration with similar kinds of things that happened during World War II.
100%. How can you not? We have concentration camps being built all over the country. We have people being disappeared into them. We have conditions that Amnesty International is calling torture, and which are obviously cruel, inhuman. There is no due process. There are, citizens are being deported. People who have fought in U.S. wars are being deported. And pregnant women are losing babies in these prisons, in these detention camps, children. CNN just did a report this week about the conditions in a Texas detention camp where children are suffering. I mean, yeah, there is suffering, there is death, there is torture, there is forced disappearance. Where's the difference?
I don't see the difference.
Yeah.
But when you talk to or listen to local media and national media, it doesn't go all the way there. It sort of whitewashes a lot of this, not to use that pun. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. But I mean, it's not talking about torture, and it's not talking about a comparison to Anne Frank. It's kind of a daily report about the ICE raids happening in a particular town, but they're not sounding the alarm like you are.
No. Well, no, they're not. And I mean, we could get into a larger conversation about the mainstream media. It's failing us.
Well, you are mainstream media now.
No, I'm not. I am part of this wave of content creators, and I don't call myself a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm a content creator. I try to amplify other journalists. Occasionally, I end up in a situation where I'm doing journalism, like during when the National Guard first came, going down to Los Angeles and filming what's happening down there with the protests and the Guard. But that's happenstance that in that situation I can do some quote unquote journalism. But I'm not mainstream media. Mainstream media is dying and failing us and complicit. And people like me and thousands and I don't know how many others like me are just saying, okay, what can I do? How can I somehow try to plug a couple of the holes in this, wall of information that is collapsing? And that metaphor doesn't really work, but, we have to get the information out there.
But how many people are listening to you across platforms?
I mean, I don't know. It's about 1.2 million at this point, 1.3 million.
Cable news, MSNBC doesn't even get 1 million in some of their primetime shows. So
yeah,
you have a bigger audience than a lot of news outlets and a lot of podcasters, especially on the right. So whether you think of yourself as a journalist or not, you're a purveyor of information. You are disseminating information, whether it's original information or not, doesn't matter. You are educating and elevating these particular stories so that the public knows, right?
Yeah. I'm trying. Yesterday, I spent many hours making a video about how mass deportation actually costs U.S. jobs. This is a fact that has been well documented. Many, many studies have been done that every time the United States, and again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but when the U.S. deports mass numbers of undocumented people who are here working, we lose jobs. And in fact, one of these reports found for every 1 million people who is deported, 88,000 U.S. workers lose their jobs. This is a formula. Like, this stuff is well known, but when you bring that information out, like I made this video, I thought, I don't know if anyone's going to want to watch this. People were like, I had no idea. I really didn't know. Now, of course, some people did know. Some people are MAGA, racists who don't care. But the truth of the matter is the empirical facts are that this is not just a human rights catastrophe, but an economic catastrophe for our country. All other things, obviously human rights first and foremost. but it is economically stupid and disastrous. And those are the kinds of things I don't see the media talking about. And so that's the kind of information I'm trying to get out. But I'm also trying to just get out ICE raids, because that content, when people see it, really moves the needle for people. And again, mainstream media mostly is not showing these raids.
Exactly. So I'm going to christen you journalist or
Okay.
purveyor of
Coming
information.
from you, I accept humbly.
That's what a journalist does. It doesn't necessarily even have to be original information. They can take a press release or what's happening around them or what they're hearing about and report on it. So, I mean, I think you do a better job than most people on television. So I appreciate this conversation and this collaboration. But I wanted to know, when the ICE raids started in Los Angeles, did that become a cause célèbre for you? Why? You focus a lot on what's happening with the immigration raids and this concept about losing jobs with everybody that we're deporting. I mean, you're really focused on this issue, and I'm just curious as to why this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one, because I'm a student of history. Two, because I try to be a moral person. I think if you're a moral person, you can't watch what's happening and not want to act in some way. But three, I've been interested in economics for especially the last few years, as we went through Trump and then Biden, and watching the swings back and forth there. One of the most viral videos I ever made was about the economic costs of mass deportation. And it came out about maybe a month before the election. I had attended, I think it was American Immigration Council webinar about it. And I thought this information was so fascinating and so important for people to understand what it would cost us from an economic standpoint to deport the numbers of people that Trump was talking about. So I made this video. It was kind of long, it was a little wonky. It did really well, but then it kind of died down, and then the election happened. And I went offline for a week because I could not. I was just really, like many of us, quite gutted. Came back on, and that video had gotten millions more views. It was like everybody woke up on election day, the day after, and said, oh my God, what is this going to actually look like? Because this is going to happen now. And so I've developed a sort of growing interest in this from a human rights perspective, but also from a holistic perspective, because all of this stuff works together. Healthcare and immigrants and, agriculture and the economy, it's all part of a piece. And the Trump administration's approach is so not only cruel, but so stupid. And so I've been trying to help people understand that, because ultimately it seems sometimes like what people care most about is their own wallets. So I've been really trying to make clear that this is going to hit you in the wallet in a way that is devastating.
You're trying to find cracks in the armor to get people to pay attention, to see the fallacy of it all?
Yeah, to see the fallacy of it all. And again, there's 30% of the population that I don't think will ever see it, because this has never been their real reason for wanting mass deportation. They want a white America. And so I'm not going to penetrate that. But there's a massive tens of millions of non-voters. We have the independents who voted for Trump because of the economy, but otherwise they don't really like him. And those people, I'm trying to help educate so that someday when we're in this situation again, they think twice about making this horrible mistake again.
You're a Democrat?
I am a registered Democrat. Yeah, I am.
And you have a take on the administration, which I've heard many times.
On the Trump administration?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're criminals. I think this is criminal. What's happening is criminal. I think that if in a just world, they will end up behind bars for what they're doing right now. 100%.
You don't have the thought about crossing party lines and working together and finding a way to, become a unified country, that sort of thing. You really have a strong take. I'm not suggesting that it's right or wrong.
Sure, no, that's fine. I wonder why when we're asked to cross party lines, it's always Democrats being asked to cross to the Republican side of the aisle. I am 100% willing to work with and talk to anybody who has first admitted that what is happening right now is morally outrageous and wrong. If we can start from that point, then yes, I'll talk to anybody. I love forgiveness. So I love when I see somebody who's been supporting Trump for a long time who is able to say, I was wrong. But what I will not do is normalize what's happening right now. So no, I'm not going to normalize it. I'm not going to pretend that still supporting this after what is happening now is normal. And I'm not going to try to reason with people who have shown themselves to be uninterested in reason.
I mean, you're politically savvy, and you are stating, as a matter of fact, that what's happening now is not right. There's no redeeming quality about this administration. It's a takeover.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'm politically savvy. I just can see. I mean, yeah. I am a mother, right? So everything kind of filters through, like, would I want this done to my child? Is this best for the most children? Is this protecting our children's future the most? Do I want my child dragged out of school, taken to a detention center, frozen, starved, and provided no entertainment or resources, and then eventually deported to a country they've never been to before? No, strangely, I don't want that. And so, yeah, I mean, not to be sarcastic, but this is a really deeply moral moment. And we are either rising to standing up, or we are literally part of the problem. And I know that has been said over and over again by every great civil rights leader, and it's always been true. That is my feeling. I will only speak for myself because I don't want to tell other people what to do. I cannot sleep at night if I'm not doing more. And I have content creator friends who are Latina, one in particular who made a video a couple of days ago sobbing and just saying, we need white people to step up more because we're traumatized. We know what's happening, but this is very traumatic for us. And there was a huge response to this video of people just sort of understanding that in this moment, like, we're not being allies as much as we need to be allies. Many people are doing a lot. But I think all of us probably could do even more and probably need to.
The reason I'm sort of asking you along those lines, not to be provocative, but you're now becoming a target. If you speak boldly and plainly and directly without mincing words, and you point your finger at the administration as being criminal, you're opening yourself up. Has that happened?
No, and it might, but I mean, look, my fear of what could happen to me cannot be greater than people's actual fear of what is actually happening to them right now.
You don't get hate speech. You don't get people on your posts saying nasty things about you.
Sometimes I'm very good at blocking people. But, it's less than you would think. And I think part of that is because I'm a middle-aged woman. And I think most people, they can't even see middle-aged women, which is, it sort of gives you this weird invisibility cloak to the trolls. But also, I don't spend time shaking my finger at Trump voters or calling them names. That's not really what I'm interested in doing. I think that the things that I talk about for the most part are so common sense. I just want an economy that works for everybody. I want more jobs, not less. I want the GDP to grow so people can thrive. I want healthcare for all. I want immigrants to feel safe here, and I know that immigrants help our country thrive. That's empirical. Again, that's not an opinion. That's not a feeling. That's fact, right? So I don't know that most of the things I'm saying are considered really that revolutionary, even to people who may not agree with my politics. I want their kids to be okay. I want all kids to be okay. So I don't know. What is there to yell at? I'm not trying to fight with people. I'm just saying, America, this is really becoming my catchphrase. You deserve better. We deserve better than this. And this kind of treatment of human beings will only ever sink us all.
Why do you think, if it's empirical, if it's obvious, if what economics you've studied with respect to immigration is a plus for the country, why are we going on this route? Do you have any thoughts about what this is all about, if it's damaging?
It's xenophobia. It's a desire to go back to a white Christian America that is, is not written into the Constitution, first of all, and is secondly it's not what we are anymore. We are a diverse country. We are a melting pot. Immigrants have made us great. Almost every great thing that has come out of this country has been done or envisioned by an immigrant. So that is what our country is now. And it is a beautiful thing. We are all immigrants here unless we're indigenous, which is so obvious. So that's my feeling. I'm not apologetic about it.
I get that part, but I'm a little bit more interested in your thought about the why. You say xenophobia, which is basically fear of the other
Yeah.
distilled down. And you really do believe that the billions of dollars that the administration is spending is to whiteify or to create a white society, a white Christian society? That seems to be the catalyst for all this?
Well, yeah, because you can't argue that it's economically smart, right?
Right.
I mean,
That's what I'm
else would
asking.
what else would you argue? That it's economically smart? Well, we know it's not. We already can see the economy tanking, and we know that, like, this has been tested. We know it's not going to help the economy. We know it's going to shrink the economy. We know it's going to kill jobs. We know that prices are already going up. All these things. So if it's not economic, it's not, from a human rights standpoint, because this is terrible. These are human rights abuses. What is the other explanation for sending all these people away? It's got to be that people in the Trump administration don't like the color of their skin. And we see this with the ICE raids, that ICE agents are just targeting people by the color of their skin and the language they speak. So I'm open to another explanation. I truly am. I'm not sure that these people all even know that racism is fueling their desire to see mass deportation, but there doesn't seem to be another plausible explanation.
Is there somebody in your family or somebody that you were close to that has sort of sparked this kind of passion to protect these people or to raise awareness about it? Do you know someone who's been deported or somebody that you're...
No, I don't.
This is just a flat out moral issue for you that needs to be resolved.
Yeah, it's one of many. I mean, I'm not sure I rate it as more or less important than all of the other moral issues our country is facing right now. We're about to go into a healthcare apocalypse. We have a gun violence epidemic. And I guess I'm very passionate about solving things that are solvable. I mean, yes, I hear the personal stories. I see the personal stories. I see what's happening on the streets of LA. But again, doesn't this just come down to humanity? I'm not sure how it doesn't. I don't know how you see this and have a different reaction.
Well, you're unique in my experience. I don't know many passionate women who are willing to put themselves out there and to continue to do what you do. What is a day in your life like? I mean, you are listening to this stuff, ingesting this stuff, digesting this stuff, and then producing content so that people can be elevated or understand it the way you do. Can you just give me a typical day, like what you do in a day?
You don't want to know.
I do, because I see you on social media all the time, and I know what it takes to produce something. So it's not a 5-minute thing, right?
No, it's not. It's I try to put out 3 videos a day of my own content, and then I also publish a newsletter 5 days a week, which is gives people actions to take to support democracy, basically. And then I try to go to a lot of meetings. I go to messaging meetings. I go to polling meetings. I go to webinars like the one about mass deportation and the economy, because I'm really interested in that stuff. It really excites me to learn that stuff, and then to turn around and try to give it to people in a 2 to 5 minute video that they can understand. So I don't know. I work probably around 10 to 12 hours a day. I mean, so do a lot of other people. It does get a little intense because people are taking breaks from the news. I don't really take a break from the news, but I have learned. I have a very strong sort of support system outside of what I do for work, and I have learned that if you can turn to that, get unplugged, be in family, be in friends, be in culture, be in the outdoors. For me, I'm able to compartmentalize. And I'm just really defiant. I'm really angry. I don't want to see this country go to people like Donald Trump and Peter Thiel and Stephen Miller. I don't want that to be the end of the story on my watch and on all of our watch. That is a sad ending to this story of this very imperfect country that has been more or less trying to trend in the right direction and is just taking a giant, giant step back right now.
So if you're going to fight, this is the time.
If you're going to fight, this is the time. And, all right, what are the chances of any of us actually being born, right? Of our genetics having been carried down through ancestor after ancestor after ancestor who has survived getting, eaten by a lion or having something fall on their head or diseases, they have survived all the way down to us. And we're born for this ridiculously brief period of time. We have this life. People like me have ability. I have privilege. What am I going to do with that? I'm going to sit around and think about myself. I mean,
I don't know, recipes or,
No, sure. And that stuff is really valid. It's not me. That's just not me. I mean, I wish recipes were a bit more me. I'm sure my entire family wishes they were. It's not me. I find that this is really a passion for me. This is something I feel so fired up about. And I know what it feels like to win. We've won a lot over the last 10 years or so. And I want more of that. I want people to get health care. I want immigrants to be safe in this country. I want us to stop believing that racism is a sound policy choice. You know, I want us to be able to send our kids to school without being afraid that they won't come home. I want those things. I'm going to work for the rest of my life to try to get those things here. I don't know whether we'll succeed or I'll succeed, but I will know when I die that I was on the right side of things.
Do you feel like you're being effective?
I feel like we are being effective, yes.
I'm asking you. You do this every day, 10 to 12 hours a day. I'm assuming you don't really know. How are you going to measure whether you're being effective?
That's a good question. I think I know that people tell me that, you know, they watch, they read, they take actions. So in that regard, what makes me feel effective is when someone says, I made a video the other night about ICE, and a woman commented, I was really tired tonight. I was supposed to go to a workshop to learn about, you know, responding to ICE raids in my community, and I wasn't going to go. I watched her video and then I went, and it was fantastic, and I'm so glad I learned what I learned about standing up for my community. So little things like that, yes, I feel like I'm being effective. When I find an ICE video, I have a bunch of different sources for my ICE videos, as we all do, content creators. But when I find one and I post it and it gets 1 million views, yes, I feel like I'm being effective.
What's missing? I mean, we've invigorated an entire group of people against what we're seeing. Kids are walking out of high schools and people are protesting, putting themselves in harm's way. I see people putting themselves in front of cars, in front of vehicles, getting beat up, getting arrested. So we still haven't seemed to turn the tide when it comes to the immigration raids. They're still happening. They might ramp up. Is there something that you see that we could still do?
Well, I think that more people is better. You know, if you have 100 people showing up to a rally against ICE in a city, 1,000 would be better. You know, if 1,000 show up, 10,000 would really make a statement. So more, you know, scaling it up so that every time ICE shows up anywhere, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of peaceful people standing there, witnessing, filming, shouting, because I think you should be allowed to do that, you know, but doing what we can. Economic boycotts, I think, are going to need to play a much larger part of what we're doing. Boycotting places like Spotify for running ICE ads, like making the decision, yes, I like my Spotify, but no, I really don't want to support places that are supporting ICE, so I will change even though it's inconvenient. Boycotting, I am a very big advocate of boycotting Home Depot right now because they're allowing ICE raids in their premises. Boycotting Target, boycotting Amazon, these giant corporations that are enabling the Trump administration and therefore enabling this mayhem. I think Americans need to really start looking at their consumer choices, and I think that people can do more of that. They can call their representatives and say, this is insane. You need to stop this. Congress has massive powers they're not using because Republicans are in the majority and they won't use them. So they could do a lot. So yeah, more protests, more all of it, more vigils. You know, I have been to vigils down at the detention center with faith leaders from all over Los Angeles several times now. They are so powerful and so moving. Then you put that up on social media, and again, hundreds of thousands or millions of people see it, and they are reminded that faith leaders, the real ones, most of them at this point, are sickened by what's happening. And they are standing up. They're standing up. Why shouldn't I?
Do you have a sense as to how we got here?
My kid just got the flu recently when we were traveling. We didn't let them get better fast enough, right? We went out when they were still a little under the weather, and they got a secondary infection. They got pneumonia. They got real sick. How did they get the pneumonia? Well, we didn't really thoroughly take care of the first infection, so they got the secondary infection. I almost feel like Trump is a secondary infection on our country. So it is him, but it's also what he represents is an entire phenomenon that has taken advantage of the fact that our country is too many people are broke. We have income inequality. We have racism that's never been addressed. We have all these things. Then you bring in Trump, you bring in Fox News, the most effective propaganda engine this country has ever seen. And foreign agents, bots making up half of the accounts on social media, right? From overseas. That is just a formula. It's a lot. And that's why for us to fight back, we need community, we need in-person events, we need nonviolence, we need to somehow eradicate the cynicism that is stopping people from participating. And I think we're seeing it. We're seeing young people running for office. We're seeing great organizations like Run for Something that are just like bringing people in to run for office on an unapologetically, progressive or liberal platform, and they're winning across the country. We have to find a way to get people believing in our democracy again in a moment when our democracy is hanging on by a thread. And that is a very difficult juggling act. And maybe that's part of what I'm trying to do.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see you as a part of a movement, against what we're witnessing, as an alternative to what we're witnessing, as a better choice. But do you see yourself as I said, a reporter of it, or do you see yourself as a creator of the movement?
I don't know. I'm neither. I'm a participant in the movement. And I record as I participate. It would just be like someone keeping a diary 100 years ago. I'm not going to sit in my office and tell people what to do if I'm not also doing it myself. So I go to the protests. We had ice raids around the corner from me the other day. I got in my car and went. They had already left. But first and foremost, participation. Second, writing about it, helping other people know what to do. But I got to be in it myself.
But that's inspirational, right? I mean, if you're doing it, then I can do it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to show people. And that's what it's always been about. That's how I got onto TikTok, was showing people how to call their representatives, because people sometimes they really do want to do something and they don't know what. So what I can do, what I've found my gift is showing people, not just telling people what to do, but showing them. Here's how you call your rep. Here's what it looks like at a protest. Here's the Tesla takedown. Here's, me in D.C. walking through the hallways about to talk to a senator. Look.
I think that's a lot more important than a politician on a stump, saying what he promises to do.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with politicians on stumps is that the second people see a stump now, they walk away.
Exactly.
Yeah, no one wants to see it.
Because it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit, or even if it's not bullshit, that filter is like broken. Even I can barely watch a politician speaking behind a podium. I just don't care. I just want people to believe, again, that America deserves better than this. And then I want them to believe that their part in making that happen matters.
I think when we first spoke, I was a bit more pessimistic about our future.
Yeah.
I see what's coming. As a journalist who's kind of in this realm about the ICE raids, I see the money that's being spent on more ICE agents, the detention centers that are being built, the strategies that are going to be implemented in the beginning of next year.
Yep.
You don't have a pessimistic view of our country and where we're headed. That was my take.
I don't believe that pessimism is helpful. I believe that hope is an action. So what I am committed to is taking hopeful actions. I am of the sort of Rebecca Solnit variety of, that hope is not a feeling. And I think any activist will tell you this. Hope is not a feeling. It is what is Rebecca Solnit says it so beautifully. It's an axe that we sort of chop down the door with. Hope is something that we do. So do I feel pessimistic about the future or optimistic? No. I feel, what can I do in the day to create the world I want to create? And my experience has been that when enough people do that, unexpected things happen. Look at Zoran Mamdani winning in New York. That is impossible. And yet, enough people decided that was what they wanted, and they took the actions, despite the fact that it was impossible. And it became possible.
So you're hopeful in the doing, or the doing creates the hope?
It's both, but mostly the second. Yeah.
So you have to do. You just can't sit and wish for something to change.
No, correct. And that's why my newsletter is called Chop Wood, Carry Water, because we take the action. So Chop Wood, Carry Water is a Buddhist saying that my dad taught me when I was going through a divorce. And it was so painful, and I was so upset for such a long time. And he had been through divorces. So I said, how did you get through this? Like, how do you survive this? He said, well, you chop wood, carry water. You do the thing in front of you to do. You don't expect to feel good. You just do it. And one day you will wake up and you will have gotten through it. Things will have changed. And that was what happened. So when Trump was elected, I told my friends who called me crying, what are we going to do? We're going to chop wood, carry water. And that has become a way of life for me and for many other activists. Again, none of this is original. that you just take the actions and you kind of let go of the results, and you trust if you keep taking hopeful actions, if you keep taking actions that are sort of with love at the center, as another great activist, Heather Booth, says, that you can make way more change than you think, and that it's way more effective than simply being a cynic and saying, well, I give up, we're fucked, which is something I hear a lot. I refuse to do that. For mental health, if for no other reason, I refuse to do that.
We had a couple of Episcopal priests sitting where you are a couple of days ago on the podcast who are very active in their communities, very vocal in their communities. And they believe that it is their testament of faith that requires them to move forward and to denounce and to call out evil. They call it evil.
Yes.
So you have a similar kind of passion and feel that they did, but they're wearing collars.
Yep.
It's not, is it kind of a religious, a spiritual thing for you?
Yeah. It's spiritual. It's not religious. I'm not religious. But yeah, I have a very clear moral compass. Principles, morality, those things are really important to me. They've made my life better. And so, yeah, I feel that this is a principle. This is a spiritual principle.
Are you called?
I don't even know what that means exactly.
Is there a bigger hand at play here? Is there some kind of a divine intervention and allowing you to have this platform? Are you feeling like you're supposed to be doing this?
Well, I don't think it would be very humble to say any of that. I think what I can say is that I have found my calling. I have found what I was put on this earth to do, for sure. Yeah. And I, by the way, P.S., if anyone's listening, 47 years old when I found what I was put on this earth to do. So, don't quit before the miracle. It took this all happening for me to realize, here's what I should do. This is what I'm meant to do.
One would call that a calling.
Okay, so that's a calling, yeah.
Whether it's from God or from yourself, but...
Yeah, from something, yes, this is my calling, for sure.
Is it abrasive to other people? Like you're loud about this and you're passionate about this and maybe people don't want to hear.
Maybe. I don't know. I try not to get in people's faces unless they want to hear. I mean, if you're on social media and I come up, you can scroll by. And I'm sure lots and lots of people do. I try not to shake a finger in people's face. I'm sure there are people who find it abrasive. I'm sure any Republican would find it deeply abrasive. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, I'm getting to a point now where I'm willing to piss off some white people who are just not doing anything. I don't like to shake a finger, but I'm getting my finger's starting to move because we got to do something. So yeah, I guess that could be considered really abrasive to some. Sure.
Time is critical for you right now.
It's not that time is critical. Every single one of these lives is critical. These people are being tortured. I don't need to tell you this. You do a podcast about it. It's what if that was me? What if it was my kid? I just keep thinking, what if that was my child? When they talk about a teenager who's been deported or who is sitting in one of these detention centers right now, I don't know. I can see my kid. Now, I know Republicans call that what? Toxic empathy? They've got some phrase for this now. Toxic compassion. They've invented some phrase for how you shouldn't feel this way. I reject that. And I think that's insane.
What do you see needs to be done between now and what looks like the next big milestone, which is the election, the midterms, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing that may turn the tide. Is it going to be a political push that you're going to be interested in here, trying to get electeds in, or...
I'm really glad you asked this question in this way, because I have been thinking a lot recently that you can't really separate the political from the moral. So it will be a political push and a moral push because they're intertwined, right? When people say, oh, I don't do politics, I'm like, well, then you don't do morality, because politics and morality are intertwined. And in this moment, more than ever, politics makes decisions about who we help and who we don't help, who we feed, who we don't feed, who we torture, who we don't torture, who we blow up in boats, who we don't blow up in boats. So yes, the next year is a moral challenge. It is our moral, the grand battle of all time. So yes, it's an election, but it is also a call to action for Americans to say, if you reject this, then reject it at the polling place and in the streets peacefully. I feel like I always need to say peacefully, but reject it in every way. And those two things then will become one, I hope. And what we really need is a moral politics. We need a politics that is based on morality.
And I'm going to say to you that you are a leader. You are a leader, and you might want to take on that mantle in a much more sort of not satisfying sort of way, but take it on. Not that you haven't, but if you're starting to point the finger, I would say even do it more. The times I see the times, we're on a cusp here, and I don't really feel like we've crossed over yet. We have not been victorious yet.
Nope.
And it can go backward. I don't think, as I said to you, I don't think that they're going to go down without a fight.
Nope.
So if you're not at the tip of the spear, who is going to be that person?
No, that is really true. I mean, not just me. I think a lot of us who are in this movement in one way or another feel at this point like, oh, the politicians are not going to get us out of this.
I am getting your passion, and it's invigorating, and it gets me up in the morning to do because you're doing it as well. So I don't know if that's leader or social media person. Whatever. I know you don't like that title, but I'm going to...
Leader or influencer. I don't like those titles, but because this has got to be a movement of all of us. It's the only way we succeed. So yeah, sure, there are leaders. I recognize that for some I am one, but I'm also very much a follower. I always say, and this is a good place to close, but when I do Substack lives and lives, a lot of times when I'm talking to people who need a pep talk, I remind them at the end that, that we are standing on the shoulders of giants, which is a phrase that you and I have both heard a million times. But people forget. We are standing on the shoulders of the people who have faced stuff just as scary, if not way more scary. In their lifetimes, they are the people who did not choose to check out. They are the people who chose to check in and change this country for the better. We are standing on their shoulders, and someday someone will be standing on our shoulders. So yeah, for the moment, I am that person in between. Someday someone will stand on my shoulders, and I want them to be there for that. So to that extent, I'm a leader, but I am getting all my energy from the people who have come before me.
And the people who are being oppressed, the people who are being marginalized.
Absolutely.
Right. It's for them.
It's 100% for them. It's for the people who cannot fight for themselves right now. And on the end of the day, religious or not, that is who we're supposed to be fighting for.
Now, that is a holy cause, according to the priests who are sitting right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do too. And it's not religious, or it's not ordained by God unless you're doing it. If you sit back and watch, it's not holy.
Yeah.
It is your task. It is your journey. It is why you are here, which I think you said so eloquently. So yeah. I appreciate that. This is a great conversation for me to have.
I loved it. I mean, thank you for having a conversation with me.
You have a 10 to 12 hour day, and you probably could do an extra 10 or 12 hour day, like a 24-hour a day work here. Are you interested in growing who you are and your platform and becoming much more of a national spokesperson, maybe even outside of social media?
That's a great question. I haven't thought about it much because I never really foresaw any of this, and I don't want to change who I am that much. I don't want to, I am sort of me, like that's a really big part of who I am. So if it requires like getting a bunch of Botox and sitting in a TV studio, no, I don't want to do that.
I love that you said Botox.
I'm sorry.
It's
just
great.
Where my head goes. But yeah, I mean, I do want to grow it. I don't know exactly where to put more things, but I also do feel that I trust that I'll be led there. People ask me to partner with them, and I do, and things grow, and I just, I'm open. I am always open. I try to just be open. If someone asks me to work with them and I can, I do. I want this message to get out to more people. And the message simply being like, you have more power than you realize. That is my message. You have more power. And if you use it, we can get better in this country. This country can get better. So anyway, yeah, however I can spread that message, I would.
I think that's where your power lies from where I'm sitting, is that you raise the level of awareness, which is number one. If people don't know what's happening, they're not empowered to do something about it. But once you raise awareness, then you point people in the direction of this is what you can do.
Yeah.
That's powerful stuff. Most people, I think, I don't want to say most, a lot of people are tuning out.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So to be able to do both and to not have people shy away, I think is where the authority lies. And I'm really encouraged by who you are and how you are.
Oh, thank you. Well, because I think people feel better when they do something. So people are tuning out because it's agony to watch. But when you do something, it helps with the agony. You genuinely feel more agency, empowerment, and calm. Like I look at horrible news all day and I still feel, inside of me, I feel joy while also feeling grief, if that's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to The Raid, available wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about our guests and the subjects we cover, please visit our website at theraidpodcast.org.